This is Belper. We're standing high on a hill, looking down at it. It's much, much bigger than I thought it would be.
This is the first spot that we stopped the car when we arrived in Belper. Can't remember who was there, but the sign of the barley, I think it's barley, we'd not seen that growing there before, but then we were children. This is Wendy's car that we'd borrowed, and this is the area where Dad built houses, and I think we're looking at the same houses that Dad built. I can remember being there with him. I used to go to where he was building, and of course there wasn't this many houses, obviously. This is the main road at the bottom of the cemetery. That is quite a beautiful spot, and there's another road at the top of the cemetery, but this is looking towards the road, and it's quite a pretty spot actually, always nice flowers there. This is Mum's grave. That in a moment you'll see Gerald try to take somebody's pot from their grave to get some water in it to wash Mum's graves down. We only borrowed it. And there he is doing it. And obviously there's Eileen, Pam, and myself, Julie and Gerald. And there's Pam going to find Mama Ebert's grave, which we found very difficult due to the fact that a big tree had grown over it. And there's the most beautiful dry stone wall, which has stood there possibly before I was born, way before I was born, and we all absolutely love those. It looks really nice. I think so. There's a Varney gravestone that quite numerous in Belper Cemetery. Obviously there was a lot of Varneys there. There's the dry stone wall with the capping on it running parallel with the main road, with the cemetery to our right. And the vestry, the old vestry in the cemetery, which is now privately owned house. But last time I called, it was. The church here is being renovated at the moment, quite a bit. And that's something I never saw on the church wall, even though I've been there numerous times as a child, but obviously never looked up. And there's the church in its entirety. Lower down the slopes, but, and listen to this, this is the gravedigger talking, and it's wonderful.
If you went to a stonemason and they said, well, we can put some letters on, I'm not sure if they have to take the stone away, because as soon as they touch it, you see, they have to have one of these ground anchors in when they bring it back.
Right.
So there'd be that extra charge on top, you see.
Right.
So I'm not really sure, but you could ask. There's a stonemason in Belper. As you go past the, you know, the big mill in Belper, go past there. I don't know if you remember, you know where the library is?
Yes.
Just back.
That was good, wasn't it? Well, the next bit we're about to see, I think, is a squirrel that Julie had spotted in the, there's Mama Ebert's grave, which had been vandalised, I was told. It's broken off the stem. Sorry, I'm running ahead of myself. I know there's a squirrel there somewhere. Oh, that's another one of the Varneys. I think Julie's put them in the place they belong, in the family tree. And here's the squirrel. Can you see it? And I haven't seen a squirrel for years and years and years. And here he is. He's going to move to the right. Yes, there he is. And I think somewhere here he disappears up the tree and goes too fast. You need to take it. And we're not far away from him. They're not as wild as they used to be. There he goes. And in a moment up the tree. Fascinating, isn't it? He's about to go up the tree now. Yes, you watch. Here he goes. There's gone. And here is the corner of King Street, which and also Bridge Street at the bottom. To the right there, with the big pillars, is the old bank. I think it was Midland Bank. Here we are walking up past where Woolworths and the cinema used to be on our right. One of the cinemas, which I can't recall. I'm not sure where that is, but it's obviously in King Street. But it's and that's more shops that fascinated Julie, I think. And I think they're at the bottom of King Street, on Bridge Street itself, I'm not sure. And this is King Street now, which is amazing because cars, it's a one-way street halfway, and the rest is not allowed traffic through anymore. Now this is the wall at the side of the train station, and that bridge is where King Street is, and we're about to go into a little coffee shop. Here it is, that's right near the railway, and we had some delightful food in there. And in a moment, oh yes, that was the 9th of September 2009. That's the first day we went there. And in a minute you're about to see Gerald scoffing his breakfast, even though I think he'd already had breakfast. And who are we to see now? Wait a minute. This is where the original Marks and Spencer is. It used to be called the Penny Bazaar. It now holds jars of sweets, just like Mrs. Mather used to have. It's just full of jars of sweets. This is King Street again. And we walked up and down here for quite some time. Julie loved it. And on the right here, where the person in red is the Memorial Gardens, and that's on the left-hand side of the road going up towards the Market Square, where the fair used to be held. Now, where is this? Oh, the Memorial Gardens again on our right, and the building there is the old Ritz Cinema that has just been reopened. Yeah, that's King Street again. See the Amber Valley Borough. And the Memorial Gardens again, which I didn't go in myself, but Eileen, Pam and Julie did. And there's the 1939-45 War Memorial with the names on it. There's a Varney in there, as there is on the this is the 1914-18, and Arthur Varney's on that one too. And there's Eileen in the background, and camera in hand. And again, the list of names, which I don't recall what was on there, but there will be Varneys. And that's Arthur Varney, who won the military medal, and he also died in the 1914-18 war. And at the time, his parents lived in number 4 Field Row. I think this is just a house that Julie quite liked the look of the window there. I don't recall it. This is the Memorial Gardens again, looking down onto the road, and the building to our right is the Ritz Cinema again. And there's the War Memorial, Eileen and Pam in there. Pam to our right, Eileen to the left. And here is what leads onto Field Row, but I can't remember the name of this road. On the left is a second-hand shop that's there now. And again, that's walking up towards Field Row, which runs off to the right there. This is the marketplace, high pavement at the top. Running down crossways is Queen Street, and I was standing on King Street. This is Queen Street again, and to the left, in that little gap there, is where I had my wedding reception. This is the other side of the gap, and that's number 4 Queen Street in the middle of those buildings, the light one.
That's where she was born.
Where I was born, and that's number 4. I don't recognise this. It must be one of the little alleyways round the back of, yeah. Oh, now this is College's furniture store. We used to walk through that alleyway there for our school dinners. And we used to turn left at the bottom, go up some steps, and we had wonderful school dinners there. And all that floor there, all the roadway there is the old stone that's still there, and it's just lovely to walk on it again after not being there as a child. And Gerald and I walked through there to have a look. This is looking up towards, just behind this building would be St. Peter's Church, where Eileen got married, Eileen and Frank. And Julie took this because it's a takeaway place, which just didn't exist then. And this is going up round from the marketplace. I don't know the name of this road, can't remember. But at the top, you came to high pavement on your right. This is the only entrance that's left to St. John's Infant School. It was in Spencer Road, if I remember right, but that's all that's remaining is the wall. This is on the right-hand side of Spencer Road, or was it St. John's Road? I can't remember. No, it wasn't St. John's Road. We're coming up to what was the lodging house, originally called the workhouse, I think. This is just a back entrance to houses that were in the area, and it was quite fascinating again to see the big flagstone paving there. And I don't know why Julie took a picture of that, but only she can explain. But it was old. Because it was old, that's good enough. And we're rating for, this was quite funny. The piece in the middle is a shadow of the house on the left, but there was no room at the end. They were nearly touching, but it was built to such a funny angle to the other one. And this is the lodging house again, looking from across the road. That's where Louis spent quite some time there, which rather saddens me, but it's all painted up now and looks decent. Now this, I don't remember a pub on here. This is where we walked through to school, Penn Street on our left, and I think this is St. John's Road, but I can't see well. But I don't recall a pub being there. I thought it was cottages. This is looking down towards the infant school on the right, the lodging house on the left, and going straight down towards where we went for school dinners. Penn Street on our right here, we're standing on Penn Street. This is the other side of Penn Street, where Frank used to work at Jaeger. And these cottages, I recall coming out of school and seeing Dad doing the pointing up on them, and that would be 62 years ago. Now this is the old courthouse, which I never knew existed. And this, believe it or not, is a bow-fronted door. It was very bow-fronted, never seen one in my life before. But that's the old courthouse building. This is Gerald and Pam and myself, I think, going to visit Audrey Goff, or going to knock on the door of Audrey Goff. This is number 16 Marsh Lane, where we lived, where Mum died. And it has changed quite a lot since then. That's present day. And this is a picture taken outside of 16 Marsh Lane, of Frank to the left, Arthur in front, Mum, Pam in front of Mum, me, Noreen, and Diana on my right, who was named Vera. And this is Arthur, Vera, Noreen standing behind, and Pam to the right. And this would have been when Pam was about 4 years old, I think. And that is Pam, Eileen, this is going from the right, Pam, Eileen, Gerald, and myself, Noreen. And that is us standing there in 2009, September 9. This is looking through number 14 and 16, Marsh Lane, and there on the right of number 16 is where they used to put the coal in the coal house. How the heck they did it, I don't know. Now this is walking round the corner into Marsh Lane Crescent. There's the grindstone walling again, and somebody's pointed them up, which I don't like. I prefer it to be dry stone like it always was. This is Marsh Lane Crescent. Now, I'm not sure what number this is, but I think it's number 6 that we're looking at. In a moment, we should see that's number 4 where the car is. And of course, there was no cars then when we lived there. There was no where to park there. There was just a fence and a path going down the left. This is the back of 16 Marsh Lane. The garden looks beautiful now to what it looked like when we had it. But then we grew vegetables, and we had raspberries and strawberries and gooseberries and all of that sort of thing. And around that time that we were there is Arthur, Vera, and Kevin. And Vera changed her name to Diana much later in the States. And that's another story. And that, I wouldn't have known what it was till Julie told me it was in the centre feeding all the houses. Whether it was to feed telephone lines, I don't know, but I've never seen it before. And there's Marsh Lane again. And that must be a sign from either the top of Marsh Lane or the bottom. And again, the dry stone wall that's stood the test of time. Beats all the fences. Now, Eileen got married when we lived in 16 Marsh Lane. And there's grandmother in the front, Grandma Zipporah. Frank's grandmother to the right. And at the back of Grandma Zipporah is my father. That's just a house. Oh, that's right. It's got a pointed side. Can you tell? It's very strange. It's like the front of a boat. I've never seen anything